If you don't have a drill press, accurately drilling chair stretchers and other tall, narrow parts can be surprisingly difficult. Before we repair the broken stretcher in the next video, I'll show you how to build a simple platform that gives your drill guide the height and stability it needs using nothing more than a few scraps of wood and basic tools. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make these need to be at least 6 inches wide. Of course, I don't have lead in the pencils I was showing you, but fortunately I always have more. These need to be about, I think probably about 6 inches wide to really make a good base for the drill. But I'm going to go out to about 12 because, as I said, I'm going to make this kind of a freestanding platform. And this will give you a little more width and stability, I think. Mark that off with my handy Empire square. And let me go ahead and cut it off with this razor saw I was telling you about earlier. And we're going to take nice slow strokes here. I think I'm a little rusty with the saw. Just a little light pull, letting the saw do the work, just get a little notch. And then we're just going to start going. Nice long full strokes, let the saw do the work. And kind of a little bit of an angle there, you can see we're not, and let's go back a little bit so you can see the camera a little bit better. But you can see, you can tilt more or less that way, not too critical. But we're letting full, just pulling on the saw, blow the sawdust off a little bit as we go to see. Nice light gentle strokes all the way up and down, let the saw do the work. And as you can see, I'm barely putting any effort into here, going nice and slow, and it's still going through this without a whole lot of trouble at all. And I still wandered a little bit there, but this top piece isn't too critical. And this is just some 1x2 poplar I got from Home Depot. They got their whole section of poplar. If you look underneath there, they got some smaller sections of, or some sections of smaller kind of project wood. You can make this out of anything, but I bought the 1x2 kind of hoping that'd be a simple material for people to work with if they don't have as many tools. Realized that was a little bit short. I got a scrap piece of plywood from somewhere, and I got another scrap of some oak over here as well. Same thing again. And of course, you don't have to do this with a handsaw. If you got a miter saw or something like that set up in the shop, by all means knock yourself out. But I'm trying to gear this a little bit more toward people with less equipment, maybe working in their own house, making this real beginner friendly. So that if you don't have a bench, you can, or if you do, you can set it on a bench and clamp the piece there. It's all the way upright. So I want a piece that's a little longer than that, and I know actually the other chair piece is a little longer than this one. So really, actually, hardly even need to cut that down to length. So if I go 18 and 18, and then I just got to take this one down to 18. A little better, still not perfect. Tiny bit off, but not terrible. Check those real quick, so those ends are definitely tilted a little bit, but it looks like heights are good. for our legs. And we got our cross piece. So I'm just going to go ahead then, make sure you can see that there. Do it that way. Is that a little better visual for the camera, I think. And I can use, could absolutely use this type of bit, swapping back and forth between driver and twist and the impact. But it will be a lot easier to use a dedicated drill. I threw a bit in here before I started, but the general rule of thumb is the width of the bit, you want to be just as wide as the shank on that, but not as wide as the threads. This actually seems like a little finer thread, and I'm using some variety of these wood screws with the sharper point T25 driver. These might be like the Deckmate brand or something. GRK are my favorite. You can get by with whatever, though. If you get some drywall screws handy, be a little more careful about pre-drilling them and not stripping them out, but they'll absolutely work. And usually I do one. This is part of why I don't like swapping back and forth using one impact for drilling and for driving, because I like to drill one and then put the screw in right away to hold it in place. And not, because if I go ahead and drill two and then put one in, it's pretty easy for them to wander still. Wouldn't be the end of the world. And then you can pull that one tight. You can adjust these in and out. I guess I'm probably overthinking that though, because really this is just a platform. It's not like we're actually building furniture here. Let's see if that's still coming in all right on camera. And I can feel these tightening down nice and snug. Lets me know I'm getting the right size bit. And you can see, even at that, they're starting to split out the tiniest bit just as the head's going in, because this is a little 1x2. So we'll use that as our platform, and then we'll do the legs. Let's just stick them upright in here and kind of hold that in place. And of course, be mindful of where your fingers are in your drill bit length. That one actually won't quite go all the way through, but not very much fun to drill into your fingers. I'm sure I must have slipped and poked myself with a drill bit through a board before. I can't remember offhand. I have done it once at a finish nail, sticking some stair railing together, hit a knot and curled back out funny. Went in through the thumb and kind of back out there. That always feels good. And actually, even at that, I overdrew. That's a little bit too long. I don't have a grinder or anything handy. And I have to see if I can back that out a little bit. Maybe for that, see if I can go kind of a little bit of an angle here, because I want those points to be coming in. They won't really hold tight if I don't have the head all the way tight. So I'll start straight on to get it going a little bit, and then use that whole kind of eyeball and angle. Again, it's just the frame, so absolute perfect accuracy. Be okay. Grab a few more of these guys, or one more of these guys, and that went in nice, but it is pulling off a little bit because run that one in at a little bit of an angle. Of course, my battery's gonna run out. So that is, left a little gap at the end, but I guess I shouldn't sweat that too much. I'm a little OCD by personality and working long enough as a finished carpenter and furniture maker and higher end painter. I guess those tendencies are still very much at the surface. Sometimes bogs me down a little bit when I need to just move right along for maintenance, but I'd rather be, at the end of the day, I'd rather be moving a little slow and doing too nice of a job than going the other way. It's a little easier to adjust that way. And now with this one at the end, going in at an angle, we really want to be careful not to lift that off in between. You can see I'm kind of keeping my fingers on that, keeping it in place, reaching for the impact with my offhand. Oh, and I'm still in drill mode from the other day. I was wondering if it was running out of battery, but so used to never taking that off of number 3 that don't even think to check it most of the time. It's getting to be a lot of screws for a small space here. This one's just barely starting to poke through, but I'm less worried about those because, what's going on here? Oh shoot, I grabbed the wrong piece. I grabbed this other random scrap that was sitting up here. Whoops. Smooth. Well, let's see if these holes are still usable. If I can just run these in here. I'm kind of gambling a little bit, but life's a journey. And when the head goes all the way tight and it's not sucking that back, you just want to flip the drill into reverse, take it part way out again. Do that a couple times. That one's a little more stubborn than some. Seems like that worked. Hear a tiny bit of chatter. I think I'm hitting the other screw there, crossing paths in the board. All right, let's see if we get that at least close enough. Yeah, so it's not perfect. Definitely not like crazy sturdy, but it's holding up there. And what that is going to do, see now, we can kind of rest our drill stand, let's tweak up here, and I can clamp these boards, and I will need to modify this again for the round part, but we can clamp this one here, and we can move our drill press in and out, and we can drill down into it. So this one, as I said, I built the longer legs. Works well on the table, but especially for those of you who are working on the floor, which I think I touched on a little bit before, but you could absolutely make one shorter leg clamp it to the bench as well. You know, if you've got some, you know, wooden sawhorse, you could screw them on there as well, skip the clamps. There's plenty of variations, but I'm gearing this a little bit more toward working on the floor, not having a table or anything to work with. So there's your platform. Be one modification when we get to the round table leg, but we're going to start with the square ones here. So I'm going to pause there, and I will be jumping back in here shortly for another section to actually start putting this broken tenon together. If this was helpful, please like and subscribe. I'm David, your home repair coach. We'll be seeing you again for the next section.